The most common home buying advice you're seeing on TikTok and news headlines right now is actually designed to make you lose money. The tricky part? Most of it sounds right, especially here in Gwinnett County where the market feels like it's shifting. What I see every single day are buyers who follow this TikTok wisdom only to end up playing a desperate, expensive game of catch up later. Today, I'm exposing the 7 worst pieces of advice I hear in this market, from Duluth to Flowery Branch, and exactly what you should be doing instead. Stick around for number 7. It's the one mistake that costs people years of equity before they even sign a contract. Bad advice number 1, wait for the market to crash because inventory is rising. I hear this constantly. People are seeing more for sale signs and think, ooh, a 2008 style deal is just around the corner. Let's look at the actual data in Gwinnett County. 3 years ago, we had 1.7 months worth of inventory or supply of homes. It was a literal frenzy. Today, we have 4.1 months worth of inventory. While headlines might call this a slump, a 4.1 month supply is actually a balanced, healthy market. And despite more homes being available, Gwinnett prices still grew by 1.8% over that same time period. If you've been waiting on the sidelines since 2023 for a crash, you have not saved money. You have just paid 3 years worth of rent while your future home became more expensive. The better approach. Don't confuse a correction with a crash. This is not a collapse. It's an opportunity to have choices without the false promise of a crazy price drop coming around the corner. Bad advice number 2. You need 20% down before you buy a house. This is the number 1 reason people stay stuck renting in Gwinnett for 5 years longer than they should. They think avoiding mortgage insurance, or PMI, is the ultimate goal. Let's do the math. On a $450,000 home, 20% down is $90,000. That takes the average person years to save. But with an FHA or conventional low down payment loan, you might only need $15,000. If you wait 3 years to save that extra $75,000, while Gwinnett prices keep creeping up, even at just 2% a year, that house now costs you $477,000. You just saved yourself into a $27,000 loss just to avoid $150 monthly on PMI payment. The better approach. Talk to a lender now to see the actual cost of PMI versus the cost of waiting. Usually, the equity gain wins. Bad advice number 3. Find the house you love first. You can figure out the loan stuff later. This is how you end up house poor. When you fall in love with a kitchen and a Suwanee cul-de-sac before you've set your boundaries, logic goes out the window. That leads to bad advice number 4. Use your max budget. Just because a bank says they'll lend you $500,000 doesn't mean that's what you should spend. Lenders look at what you can afford on paper. They don't care if you have kids in private schools or like to have several vacations a year. The better approach. Decide your sleep well at night number first before you look at houses. The goal isn't just to buy a house. It's to still enjoy your life after you get the keys. Before we hit these last 3 points, which are the real deal killers, I need to know, what's the wildest piece of expert real estate advice you've seen on your feed lately? I saw a video yesterday telling people to buy a house on a credit card to get the points, which you literally can't even do. But I know you have seen weirder, so drop the craziest ones in the comments. Bad advice number 5. Just go with the lender offering the lowest rates. I call this the hidden cost of cheap. I once had a client who went with an online lender because their rate was a 1/4 point lower, but they buried $4,000 worth of origination points in page 3 of the disclosures. Even worse, the lender stopped answering emails 3 days before closing. We almost lost the house because they didn't understand Georgia's specific closing deadlines. The better approach, look at the full picture. Total cost, reliability, and local reputation. A smooth closing is worth way more than a cheap rate that might not actually close. Bad advice number 6. Skip the inspection to win the deal. In 2021, people got desperate, and this was happening left and right. In 2026, with 4.1 months of inventory, skipping an inspection isn't winning. It's a self-inflicted wound. Let me tell you about Mike. Mike waived his inspection to beat out another offer on a 1970s ranch. 2 weeks after he moved in, he found a vertical foundation crack that wasn't noticed during any of the walkthroughs. Because he waived the inspection time period, he had zero recourse. That win cost him $22,000 in repairs before he even started unpacking. The better approach, shorten your due diligence days. You can still get an inspection while you're showing the seller that you're willing to get part of that contract quickly and efficiently. That usually will beat out another buyer who's asking for 2 weeks worth of due diligence days. Finally, the biggest mistake of all, only talk to a professional once you're fully ready to buy. This is a silent killer of equity. People wait until their credit is perfect, but by the time they reach out to a lender, they've often missed years of opportunity. I've seen people pay off debt thinking it will help their credit, only to have their score drop right before they apply because they closed an old account. If they had talked to an expert 6 months earlier, they would have heard, hey, don't make that move, pay off a different card. And that would have left them open to getting a better rate. The better approach, start the conversation at least 6 months out with a realtor and a lender. You don't need to be ready to plan a strategy. The biggest advantage in this Gwinnett market isn't luck, it's preparation. The people who win are the ones who ignored the wait for a crash headlines and realized that a 4-month inventory is actually a buyer's golden window. If you're thinking about buying in the next year, don't wait for perfect. Click the link in the description to book a quick consultation call or shoot me a message. Let's get a plan that actually works. And if you want to know the real hidden cost of home ownership in Georgia, watch this next video.